Hi. I hope people are tuning in. This is Andrea Strang from Gallery 222. We are bringing back our virtual table talks. This is all around our close to home exhibit that's up on our walls until April 3rd. So today I have 3 artists that are in the exhibit. There's actually 18. So I only have 3 today, and they're teachers. And I want to hear what is going on in their world, how they had to pivot this past year, what they've learned, what maybe they can take forward. So today I have Randall Graham. He teaches out of Gallery 222 right upstairs.
Hello.
And yes, and then I just want to mention I have also Fred Danziger and Elise Phillips. But right now let's talk to Randy. And I love having him upstairs at the gallery. He, I get to see his students. So now this year has been pretty dicey. So tell us what it's been like this past year.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. I love being upstairs from you, Andrea, as well. Well, yeah, I mean, everybody's had these massive challenges this year, of course. So I'll keep it brief, but typically I teach 6 students at a time upstairs at Gallery 222, and I have a curriculum to teach classical painting, very traditional, drawing, paint mixing, just very much fundamental. As you can see, some of my props and stuff, I have people painting behind me. And that's been going great for years. It's really, we have a great atmosphere and people learn and grow and enjoy the camaraderie and all that sort of stuff. And then COVID happened and they are small studios upstairs. So, let alone when we weren't allowed to even be in the studio, it's kind of stressful to fit lots of people in a small room. So I kind of had to pivot to teaching online. And I had actually popped up on my Facebook today, my Facebook memories of doing videos of just me painting at home, this time last year with my kids, Kieran and Natalie, joking around, and just started playing around with how to film painting and make it live stream and everything. And that was fun for a few weeks. But then, I started saying, okay, I need to make some money. I need to keep my students progressing. This COVID thing's not going away. So I started teaching online via Zoom. So it's been challenging, but I've learned a lot. Now I do a lot of things where the students are filming themselves painting. I'm spying on the house and, cats and dogs and everything. We're all used to Zoom going on. And students are still painting, if they're painting the spheres behind me, they're checking in with me. I can still see their stuff and say, your is a little too light. And then I really have been doing, feeling successful, at least myself. We'll see what my students say. But using the iPad, like I'll have them text me images, and then I'll digitally take my iPad and draw. Well, I'm not gonna do it all. Draw on their painting, a JPEG of their painting. And I think that's been really helpful. I can literally tell them, hey, your line's here. It needs to be over here, So it's a really different thing. I kind of have a million arms going around everywhere. But for the most part, that's kind of how I'm doing things. But I do hope to get back in real life teaching really soon. So
I know. I'm hoping for that too, because I really, when I am there, I miss the change of class, because that's what I would do with students, and I just don't have that. Now, Fred, you teach at PAFA. It's the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Art, for those who don't know. It's in Philadelphia, very prestigious. And you, of course, you had regular class, right, before all of this. What has your experience been like?
Well, I was scheduled to do a Wednesday night portrait class back in March of 2020 in the painting studio at the Academy. And of course, the pandemic hit, and I was asked, do you think you could do it online? And I said, well, I'm willing to give it a try. And so that's how it ended up that since then, I've been doing the classes online and trying basically to recreate the experience of being an academy student. And, I attended the school. I taught for years at the school in the day school, and now I'm teaching online. And yet trying to maintain that thing of that link with the history of art, with the great traditions of art, and had a very good time. I have wonderful groups of students, and I think they enjoy it very much, and I've seen tremendous progress from them, and so I think it's worked out pretty well. Actually, I've had students from all over the country, even all over the world. I had a student from Guam. I've had students from California, Washington State, Florida, Georgia, all over the place. And it's pretty interesting that way.
Yeah, so you would not have had those had you not been online, correct? You would have just been in Philadelphia in the classroom.
That is correct.
So that's one plus. So there's always silver linings.
Yeah. There's one little downside to it. Or I shouldn't say it's a little downside, but very often a student will show you a piece of work and they'll send me a photograph of it online, and I'll look at it and critique it. And those very subtle things about paint luminosity and the most subtle things that are often so important in a painting, they just don't translate well, first of all, on a photograph, and then on a photograph that you're looking at a computer monitor. So it's not like you're seeing the real painting. So you kind of have to couch all your criticisms in with that reservation,
Right.
But I have them set up in their own studios at home. I see them. I ask them to try to set themselves up so that I can see them working on their piece, and I'll see their faces on Zoom. I have 16 right now, and they'll all be working there. And I'll say, "Hey, Abby, let's talk," and she'll turn around and we'll talk about her painting, just like it was when I would walk around at the academy. So
that's wild. That's great. Oh, I see Joe Sweeney's with us. He's also a teacher. And he's part of the Close to Home exhibit. He's one of the 18 artists. Hello, Joe. So now, Elise, your studio is also a classroom, and I know some of your students, and they love you. So what's your experience been like this past year?
Well, I have to admit, I'm the old-fashioned kind. I didn't get into the Zoom classes or anything like that.
Okay.
So the one class, the oils, I haven't really seen them, but we did do some plein air in the fall, but then of course winter came, so that shot that out the door.
Yeah.
And my watercolor, there's only 3 people in the class, and they've been kind of comfortable coming because we just totally mask up and social distance, and we've just been handling it that way. And then I will have students like send me emails, like Fred said, and of their paintings and help them critique that way, but through emails. I don't do it through Zoom or anything. So I would mark them up and help them, what I try to keep teaching them with their drawing skills and look at the contrast and the this.
Oh, that's wild. I think that's great, Elise.
I just feel like looking at it through a little screen is just, it's not there. It's like, it's like looking at a magazine as opposed to going to an art museum. It's just such a difference to be in it live and working with people. Yeah.
Oh, I agree. So now you all somehow found your way to teaching. You're both, or all of you are all established artists, showing artists. It's amazing that you find time to teach. So Randy, who was your biggest influence to get you into teaching? Was it something you always planned out to do?
No, I definitely did not always plan to do it. Really I had a different job, which I was very lucky, but I wanted to, really I always wanted to be a full-time artist. And I started, going back to school and studying and taking workshops. And, two people were real important to me. The main one is Neil Carlin. Once I kind of had this internal switch of like, I really need to develop my skills a lot and get better at painting. I went back to Carlin Academy of Fine Art, Neil's school, little atelier in Kennett Square, and he's the best. He's just a fantastic teacher. Really mentored me, helped me paint better. And he taught me just how to do, better drawing, better paint mixing, how to understand all this stuff about painting. So, going back to an atelier style school is, obviously conversations come up about art history or meaning or anything like that. But really, Neil's just there to teach you how to paint. So think of it as like if you want to be a carpenter, you go study under a master carpenter. So Neil's just a master artist, and he really taught me everything. When I was there, I just started figuring out that I do have a knack to explain things, and he definitely helped me have a process to help people learn things, have a methodology to it all. And just started teaching at art centers, Chester County Art Association, Wayne Art Center, different places, and just kind of spiraled into teaching a lot, and I really love it. And I'm just forever grateful to Neil and that my life turned out that way. But yeah, when I went to him, it was really just to be a better painter. I was doing all these like murals on the side, and they were awful, honestly. I was like, he kept getting work, and I was like, I don't know how to mix color, I didn't know what to do. So, but he helped me a lot. And then I studied a lot with Bo Bartlett.
Bo, we all know Bo.
Bo, and I went to workshops with him. I went down to Georgia, studied at his studio. Just great artist, one of my favorites. He's such a kind, giving human, let alone artist. And he's great. But Bo really helped me with just like what it means to be a painter, why to paint. He's a great guy. He knows all the answers, but he didn't really teach me how to do things. That was much more Neil. But both of them are like just different parts of me in a way. So eternally grateful to both of them, really.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Bo used to live around here, right? He raised his family.
Yeah, he's been all around, but yeah, he definitely lived in like Chatsford and outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
He was too, like these guys. So yeah, he's great guy. So look him up. Look up both of them.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. So Jackie Kane says hello. She is one of Randy's students. I know Jackie. Hello, Jackie.
She's one of Fred's too. She's got to take a class with Elise.
That's right. Oh, that's right. Yes, she does take from Fred too. Fantastic. Oh, and then Bob James. Love him. Hi, Bob. How are you?
Hey, Bob.
So, Fred, what is your experience? Like, how did you get into teaching? I know you went to school in Philadelphia, and then I know you were a working artist. You were represented by the Roger Lapel, art gallery. Did you always teach? Did you just get in it in the last 10 years? What has been your experience?
Well, I actually got into teaching almost immediately out of the academy. I actually had a show at a place called the Walnuts Gallery in Philadelphia, and I met a man there who owned the Art Institute of Philadelphia. And about a year later, he hired me to do some teaching. I taught art history first, and so I taught at the Art Institute, and then in '97 I started teaching at the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts, and I taught there for 5 years. I took a break from that, and then just recently started the online teaching again at the Academy. So I've been a teacher ever since really 1972. And
so who was your biggest influence to get you in? I guess was the person you had mentioned to me before was your biggest influence?
Well, my high school art teacher, John Dropshow, was a huge influence in my life in general. There's John.
Yeah.
And, growing up in Pittsburgh, you don't particularly think, well, you're going to grow up and be an artist. I mean, especially where I grew up, it was everyone worked in a steel mill, my father, my uncles, and everyone. And, but John really made it clear to me that he thought I had the ability to be an artist. And, and he set me on that path. I mean, I wanted to be an artist ever since I was little, but John really made it obvious to me, you can be an artist, go after that. And
that's fantastic.
So it's greatly indebted to him.
Yeah, thank God. Well, we all are indebted to him. Thank you, John.
We're still friends. He lives in Indiana, PA, and he's we're still pals.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's very cool. So, Elise, I know you're from the Legacy, the Newman Gallery, the Newman Saunders Gallery. That's all your family.
Yeah.
But that's totally different. How did you get into the teaching end? Was it just your students wanting you?
I would say it was my students just, asking me,
how do you do that?
Here and there, and then to be like, why don't you teach a class? And then I was like, yeah, sure. And then I had the studio space, so got it together, and that's how that came about.
Oh, that is wild. So now I know a couple of your students, so that we're going to talk about now on the other end, has your students got progressed and how they've gotten better? Now, I know I'm sticking with you, Elise, because I know Christy Gilfillan and Joan Spillman, they showed at Gallery 222 or shows, Christy is in this close to home exhibit. So how does that make you feel when you see them so successful?
I have to say all my students have progressed. I mean, they're entering shows, they're doing plein air events, and it's great to really see them come along.
That's got to be a great feeling. I love it.
It is.
And then Randy.
Now we're like friends. It's like camaraderie when we all get together,
I say that about all artists. I mean, you all don't have a competitive bone in your body.
At this point, I just kind of coach them and remind them about little things like, oh, the contrast, or look, the composition would be better this way. Just almost like a coach. They kind of do their own thing, and I just kind of go around and point things out there.
Yeah, fantastic. I love it. So, Randy, I know some of your students. Tell me a little bit about them and their profession.
Yeah, like Elise said, I'm so proud of them. They're entering shows. We're putting Allison Prettyman doing this is in the real life studio, not Zoom, but Allison's got some shows at I think Griffin Cafe there. She's doing fantastic stuff.
That's so cool.
Stephanie Wicks doing amazing work. She's in, I totally forget, but she's in a restaurant as well right now. This is Stephanie's just doing fantastic work. I couldn't put everybody in the slideshow, but I mean, I'm so proud of them all. They're just all getting confidence, entering shows, doing plein air events. Here's Alex Jensen. That's in studio, learning to do a pepper, and now he's doing, big murals in Phoenixville. He was just in Mainline today.
I saw that. That's how exciting.
Yeah, Alex is a great guy, but Jackie, who reached out earlier, is doing great stuff. She's at Barbara Moore Gallery. So, yeah, I mean, it's just very rewarding to see everybody succeeding. I mean, that's really why I teach, not that I want them to get in shows or whatever. I mean, we're shooting museums here. I'm just joking. But I just want them to be rewarding of getting that feedback. It's so scary to be an artist and hang your stuff up. So I mean, just helping people get through that so they can express themselves is very rewarding. And that's all I really care about, is that they
talk
can
about the ultimate
ideas.
Vulnerability. I mean, you work on a piece of art for how many hours, and then you hang it, and you open yourself up to all that critique. So I give you all the credit.
And that's what I just want people to have the confidence to do it for themselves first, and then if they're the type of personality that wants to go further, help them succeed with that as well. So I'm super grateful. It's really quite rewarding. And it keeps you on point too. I'm sure Elise and Fred know this. Like, I can't be lazy with my composition.
I know.
And I'm like, you're doing it wrong. So you feel like always on point for thinking through this.
Each other in check.
Yeah.
No, that actually brings me up to my next topic. There is a saying that says, one teaches, two learns. So I'll start with you, Fred. What influence on your own work has teaching brought?
Well, it's actually pretty dramatic. In that, especially with what I've been doing lately with the classes that I teach for the academy, you know, you can only teach fundamental things so many times, you know, how to draw and mix color and what have you. And I started introducing different techniques. I just did a class on tonalism. I've done things on nocturne paintings. And months ago, I did one on working with a palette knife, which is something I had really never really used very much in my own work. And there's the painting that I just recently completed. I started that as a demonstration in class, and I knew that door would be the perfect thing to paint with a palette knife. So I did the palette knife demo, and it turned, I practiced it a bit, and then I did the demonstration, and I started using it in my own work. And the big painting that's behind me here in the studio, I've done 90% of that. It's an 11-foot painting of a waterfall.
That's amazing.
It's to be exhibited standing up.
Right. You have to look at it this way.
Studio's not big enough to paint it on its side. But it's done
like that
entirely with a palette. So you can't ask for more influence than that.
Right. That's wild. And it's all because you did a demo and you got your brain thinking and it connected, and it comes out in the work.
The other day, if I hadn't done that demo, I might not have even taken on this commission, because if I had tried to paint this 11-foot piece the way I had been working, I wouldn't have been able to do it. And it would have taken me 6 months,
Yeah.
But using the palette knife and learning how to use the palette knife, which is perfect for this subject, all these rocks and everything, you just load the knife up and put it on there, and bam, there's a rock,
That's wild. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So we're all here because of the Close to Home exhibit. I should say that you are all sweet, and you're donating some of your proceeds to the COVID Rapid Response Fund, which is under the Chester County Community Foundation. So love that. So let's talk about the pieces in the show and get people excited to go online at gallery222malvern.com and see if they want to purchase it and have it on their walls. I actually have, I don't know if you can tell, I have a Fred, an Elise, and a Randy right there in the back. And I love them. I move them around. So Elise, let's start with your daffodil painting. That's gorgeous. So tell us about that.
I painted that right when we went into like lockdown last spring. It was this dreary April weather, and I looked out and I had all these daffodils growing, and I was like, in an artist slump because you just weren't motivated to do anything. So I just went out and picked a bunch and stuck them in front of my easel and just had fun painting them. And like Fred said, I was experimenting with the palette knife and just totally different, out of my comfort zone. But the whole thing was just, quote, to brighten your day, because I thought, what a perfect title, because it just, reaps sunshine and happiness. And I really enjoyed painting it. So
it really is. And again, this is a situation like you were alluding to, Elise. It is so much better in person, like
all
stand in front of it. And where I've hung it at the gallery, you can actually stand, in the other room and really see it. And
art really needs to be experienced in person. It's just, it makes your house your home. I mean, you go home and your paintings, it's everything you love or you have feelings for. And I don't know.
Mhm.
I encourage everybody to buy art because
I-
it's really good. It's good for
It's
your
another
soul.
dimension. You
Yeah,
actually
it
go
just-
into another dimension,
Yeah, and
emotional dimension.
especially now when we've all been like locked in our homes. I mean, you have your
Mhm.
paintings, you know, they take you away. They take you here or where you were or where you'd love to go. And
Yeah, I always say it's an emotional trigger. Like you hear a song or
Yeah.
there's, a smell. Art is that same, response in your brain.
definitely.
Yeah, so that's great. So, Randy, what piece are you going to talk about with that's
I
in
think
the
we're doing Winter Blues, and
Oh, I love that. It's sold though. Don't get people too excited, but tell us about it.
well, I did this one in this year, like whatever, last month I painted. It's at Valley Forge. It's at the Maurice Stevens house. It's across from the chapel, and I just, it snowed a lot this winter, right? So I was
Yes,
wandering around Valley Forge. I did a bunch of studies, just like trying to observe the snow. I also just wanted to get out of my house. We're all trapped inside and just did a walkabout, kind of sketching. And I do that often, but I don't know if they'll, strike a chord. But this one I really liked the composition. I went back to the studio, reworked some sketches, and just kind of landed on this composition. And was really excited about it. So I just executed with oil. But, I went out there looking for, okay, let me paint some snow. And it really was that blue sky that was just super intense that day. And I just got attracted to, how deep I could push the zenith of the sky, the top of the sky, compared to the white of the roof, and just loved the composition. And it felt like, after a long winter of COVID and being trapped inside, it was interesting to me as I was painting it more earnestly of just like, oh, it's like looking inside the windows, kind of like flipped the script of how I was feeling. So I just really enjoyed it. So thanks. Yeah.
Love it. I love it. And then Fred, what is your piece?
Well, I have a piece in the show at your gallery called Oneida Falls.
Yes.
And, there it is. It's a plein air piece that I did on site. And in fact, the big waterfall that's behind me is Oneida Falls, which obviously I'm doing that for photographs. But I took a trip. Elise and I, for instance, we usually go to Maine we meet up there, and we had to cancel that in 2020. And so I was really dying to get out somewhere, and I went up to Kitchen Creek, Ricketts Glen State Park in central Pennsylvania. And there's a beautiful waterfall trail with 17 different waterfalls. And I painted 4 or 5 of them during this trip. It was the day after Labor Day that I went, and the park was crawling with people. Everyone was dying to get out and do something. So even in the middle of Pennsylvania, there were just tons of people walking around. And so I did a number of plein air pieces of different waterfalls. I did one of this big piece that's behind me, which is valuable in helping me do the big painting, because I have a 9x12 that I did on site. And, you see all that color.
Yes.
You see with your eyes, you don't see in a photograph. So,
right. Well, that's a gift an artist has. That's when I noticed I was not cut out for it when I was a student, because I could get figures down. Like, it looked like a bird, it looked like a duck, but I couldn't get color. Like, color is definitely an artist thing. So the fact that you can see so many colors is amazing. So we're going to wrap it up. I just want to thank everyone. One, thank you for your art, but 2, to be able to teach that you share and pass on all what you know is just a beautiful thing. So I want to thank you all for that. I'm getting chills. I can't articulate how I feel about it, but it's just the fact that you spend hours teaching and bringing people along and enlightening them. I mean, I got to own a gallery because I took art class, and it was from teaching, from teachers and encouraging and enlightening me. So thank you all for all of that. And then I'm just going to go ahead and promote what we have coming up next. We have other table talk. Well, first we have the Close to Home exhibit. It's over April 3rd. It's on our walls. We're there at the gallery Wednesday through Saturday, 11 to 5. So come see me, come see the art. And then we have 2 more table talks. Next week is going to be with Jan Ware and Christy Gilfinling. Christy's one of Elise's students. So that'll be Thursday, March 25th at 3 o'clock. And then we're doing a plein air artist table talk with Jacqueline Beam, Elaine Lyle, and Valerie Craig. So that's also at 3 o'clock the following week. So come follow us, on Facebook and Instagram, so you know what we're doing. And I just love having my guest today, and I hope you enjoyed this little segment. Oh, I do have to shout out to Chuck and Louise Daly. They did pop in and say hello to everybody, and they know everyone here, so I wanted to say hello. All right, great then. Loved having you.